Okay, I think we will just start now lah. Okay, now so this is the final part for chapter 8. Okay, it's just left one more page of notes only. But as I mentioned last week, before we go through today's topic, right, okay, we will start with questions first. Okay, so I really hope you do really okay, this one. I also will do question 7 and 8, right? Okay, so okay, question 7. So here there are two respiratory systems we're going to compare with. Okay, so we're actually doing the questions here last week punya topic, the animals punya respiratory system. Okay, so X and Y, as you can see, is insects and fish punya respiratory system. Okay, come answer me. Name the respiratory system for organism X. So remember, insects, their respiratory system, there's a name for it. What is it called? So insect punya respiratory system. Remember what is it called now? Could do or not? Elizabeth. Yes, it's the tracheal system. Okay, answer me lah. I don't talk to the wall there. Okay, so remember insect punya respiratory system, because insect one, remember, it doesn't involve the blood circulatory system. Okay, so you can see air directly comes from outside and into the muscle cells. Okay, so there's a name for it. We call it the tracheal system. Okay, most of the questions here I already put answers already, so to speed up the process. Okay, so B, the functions of structure labeled Q and T. Okay, before we go through the answers, remember what are Q and T called or not? These two I did mention in the notes last week. What? Okay, what's Q called? This, remember I told you that this is like the pump inside the tracheal system. Okay, it is called what? Remember now, this pump is called what? Okay, yes, it is called the air sacs. What about T? T are the rings. T are like the rings surrounding the trachea. What's that called? Yep, it is called the chitin. Okay, we call it the rings of chitin. Okay, yep. So here I already give you the function, which is exactly the same as the notes one. Q, they say it's a speed up transport of gases. So remember, it's like a pump. Like, so when the air passes by, you pump the air. T is like to support the trachea, okay, to strengthen it. Okay, so this part I add here. In the notes don't have this one. So this one I add here one. You can say that it's to strengthen the trachea. Okay, so that it's not, it'll be harder and stronger so that it doesn't like fall down, collapse. Okay, to prevent it from collapsing, because without the chitin, right, the trachea will like cover like this and air cannot pass through. Okay, now so C already gives you the answer here. S contains fluid. How fluid helps in gases exchange? So remember, most of the respiratory structures we learned last week, not most, but actually all have moist punya surface, wet punya surface. So what is the function of the fluid, the moist surface? Is so that gases can dissolve before diffusion. Okay, now next, D. Explain how air moves between P and R in organism X. So P and R. Okay, let's try to identify what is P and R first. Okay, right? Anyone? What is P? So P is the opening, the hole for air to come into the insect body one. Okay, yes, it is called the spiracle. And R after the spiracle is the, as I mentioned, the rings are surrounding the trachea. Yeah. Okay, so how does air move in and out? Why air can go in and out? So air can go in and out of your body. Just like human, why air can move in and out of my body is because of the breathing mechanism. So last week we learned about breathing mechanism, means inhale, exhale. So why we can inhale, exhale is because of muscle helping you to contract and relax your body so the air can move in and out. So for this question, you actually have to talk about the contraction and relaxation of abdomen muscles. Okay, so the muscles that helps in breathing of insects is called abdomen muscle. Okay, so how air moves between P and R is because of the contraction and relaxation of abdomen muscles causes air to diffuse in and out of the spiracle. Okay, so it causes air to move in and out as the muscle contract and relax. So as air diffuses in and out, this process is called simple diffusion. So how does air diffuse? They diffuse by simple diffusion. Okay, right. Next. Where does gases exchange occur in Y? So in insects, gases exchange occur at S, which is between the muscle cells and the tracheole. Okay, so in fishes, what is the structure whereby gases exchange occur? So in human, we call it the alveolus. In fishes is gill filament. Yes, very good. Okay, so don't remember that I said last week, not just gill, I must write gill filament. So gases exchange occurs at the respiratory structure of an organism. So in fishes, gill filament is called their respiratory structure. Okay, F. How does gases exchange occur in organism Y? Okay, so this part is exactly same in your notes one. So in the gill filament, gases exchange will occur with the surrounding water. So the first sentence here I give you, okay, fill in the blanks. When water flows across what in the what? So when water flows across who in who? So inside the filament got what? So inside the filament, you have even smaller structures whereby gases exchange will occur. One. So we will say when water flows across what? Okay, yes, flows across the lamella. So lamella is all these horizontal structures that is found inside the gill filament. No? So when water flows across lamella in gill filament, gases exchange will occur between, so I already say will obviously occur between water and who? So inside lamella, you still have something that gases exchange occur with one. So inside lamella, you have, so in lamella, gases exchange will occur between water and the blood capillaries. Okay, almost there. Not blood, but must say blood capillaries. Okay, so look at the notes. Okay, if you've forgotten. So remember this part. Okay, inside the filament, see all this thing? Inside the filament, you have a lot of horizontal part here called the lamella. Inside the lamella, you have blood capillaries, whereby gases exchange will occur between the blood and the surrounding water. So you look at this arrow here. Water, when it flows across the lamella, inside the lamella, you have blood capillaries flowing against the water. So as they flow against each other, gases exchange occurs. Okay, it's that simple. So the answer that I wrote just now is actually from here one. Okay, cannot. Right. So that's how gases exchange occur. So you can say gases exchange occur between water and the capillaries. If you want to, you actually can add this one by simple. Done. First question. Okay. Next. Question 8. Okay, so now we are comparing another two animals, frogs and a fish. Okay, a pretty straightforward question. What is the respiratory organ for organism X and Y? So frogs, we have two respiratory organs, correct? So one is obviously the lungs, and you also can say lungs and what? Skin, yes. Okay. Fish, as we did in the last page. It is called gill filament. Okay. Now, so last week, I also got to draw this for you, which is they asked to draw respiratory structure in organism. Why? Draw the gill filaments. So as I draw for you last week, the gill filament looks like a fly, okay, a lalat like this. Okay, so you don't have to draw all the filaments. I know there are many filaments. You just have to draw like one only. So once you draw already, right, okay, you need to label. So as I mentioned to you, there are only 3 things to label. Okay, so this round thing whereby blood flows in and out. So you have the blue color one whereby deoxygenated blood comes out, and the red color one whereby oxygenated blood will flow back after gases exchange have occurred inside the lamella. So this part is called the gill. Yeah, one color. It's called the gill arc. Separate, sorry. Okay, and then this whole thing you can label like this. It's called the gill filament. And as I showed you just now, the horizontal part that contains the blood capillaries one, just have to say it is called the lamella. Okay, easy, right? This one. Okay, so B2, something that we did many times last week already. Okay, 2 adaptations of respiratory structure in organism. Why? To carry out gases exchange efficiently. Okay, come, I want others to answer. Okay, Joey, your turn. Faster. 2 adaptations of respiratory structure. So you got to explain. So you got to state and explain 2. Okay, can. Thin is the simplest one. So yes, you can say it has thin wall. So thin, how to explain? So the wall is thin. I'm going to explain adaptation. So I've said thin is 1 mark. Another mark for it to explain. Gases can diffuse easily. Can, correct. So gases can diffuse easily, or you can say rapidly also can, because if it's thin, I can pass through it easier. Other than thin, what else can I say? So gill filament has thin wall and, okay, yes, has network. Okay, try to remember this word, the keyword here, network of blood capillaries. Okay, explanation for this. So remember, network, if it's like network like this, right, surrounding the whole lamella like this will provide larger surface area. You don't say transport gases faster. Don't say transport more oxygen. You can say transport gases faster. Can. Or you want to say provide larger surface area for gases exchange. So can. Okay. Right. So C. Okay. This one I didn't really teach you last week, which is they ask you to state 1 difference between respiratory system in humans and organism X. So we compare between the lungs, okay, because human also got lungs, frogs also got lungs, but human and frogs punya lungs are different. Okay, so let's try to compare the lungs of these 2 animals, human and frog. So, can I remember? Know the difference or not? Who can tell me? Who managed to figure out what's the difference between the lungs in human and the lungs in frogs? So I give you a hint. Both of human and frog punya lungs, right, as I mentioned last week, are adapted to provide large surface area. But the method of human lungs and frog punya lungs to achieve large surface area for gases exchange is different. So think about it. How are they different? So in human, to achieve large surface area, human lungs, so you can say lungs in human, okay, has many alveolus. Remember, large number, numerous, this keyword, the explanation is to provide large surface area. But in frogs, right, they don't have alveolus. Gases actually don't occur in the alveolus. Okay, lungs even has many alveolus, but lungs in organism X. So in frogs, how their lungs achieve large surface area is that organism X has folded wall. Okay, means that the lungs are folded. Remember this one? Show you here the frog. Yep, lungs are folded because in frogs punya lungs, they don't have alveolus to carry out gases actually. So the gases exchange is actually whereby the blood vessels is like poked into the frog punya lungs like this. So their wall, as you can see here, is like folded like this one. So if I fold it like this, I will provide larger surface because if I fold like this, it means the wall actually is larger and longer. So I provide larger surface area for gases exchange. Okay, cannot. Okay, so next we look at question D. Okay, so D, the inhalation process of organism X, the frog one. So remember last week I told you frog punya inhalation process have two phases one. Okay, from outside into lung, into their mouth first, which is called the buccal pharyngeal cavity, and from buccal pharyngeal cavity into the lungs. So there are two phases in their inhalation process. Okay, so the answer here that I give you also I break down very clearly into these two phases, A and B, which is outside into mouth and then mouth into lungs. Okay, now so those that didn't do one, okay, I already give you here the answer, just have to fill in the blanks. Okay, before we fill in the blanks, okay, let's recap a bit first on the inhalation process. So number one, remember muscle volume pressure. Okay, so air first have to enter the mouth, called the buccal pharyngeal cavity. So before the air can enter, right, you actually have two openings. The opening between outside and the mouth, which is called the nostril, and the opening between the lungs and the mouth, between the buccal pharyngeal cavity and the lungs. So this is called the glottis. Okay, so during the first part of inhalation, the nostril, do you think is open or closed? So air now wants to come into buccal pharyngeal cavity, ma. So obviously the nostril has to open up. Okay, and what about the glottis? So glottis is like the door between lungs and buccal pharyngeal cavity. Do you think the glottis open or close? You can tell me. So glottis will close, yes. Why? It's because now I only want air to come inside here first. So this one here will temporarily close. So first, before we mention muscle volume pressure, we say nostril, open, glottis, closes. Okay, so now the muscle volume pressure will come in. So this is whereby the frog punya mouth come big. So the floor of buccal pharyngeal cavity will, what we will say, will lower down because the mouth becomes like this. So now the frog punya mouth is, right? So we say floor of buccal cavity. So the muscle of the mouth, which is called the floor, will lower down. Okay, so if the floor lowers down, obviously you can see now inside the mouth here, got more space. So we will see obviously the volume increases. And as we mentioned, volume and pressure is terbalik. So when volume increase, pressure decreases. which is the same thing here I prepared for you already. You see, volume of buccal pharyngeal cavity increases and pressure decreases. So remember, air always flows from high pressure to low pressure. So if pressure inside the mouth is lower compared to outside, air will then enter the mouth. Okay, so lastly, we say air then diffuses or flows into the buccal pharyngeal cavity. That. Okay, so that's the first part. Now, second part, from buccal pharyngeal cavity into the lungs is exact opposite of what we wrote at A over here. So now, okay, let's erase all this. So now I want air to come inside my lungs. So the nostril obviously have to close because I want to prevent air from coming out. And obviously this glottis now will open because obviously air from mouth to go to the lungs, the glottis must open. No? So that's why these two now is opposite. I say nostril closes, glottis opens. So now I want to push air into the lungs. So my buccal pharyngeal cavity from like this have to squeeze the air. So I can squeeze the air into the lungs. That's why the floor now will go back to like this. So the floor of buccal pharyngeal cavity raises and my volume obviously becomes smaller. So volume decreases. So volume and pressure always the balik one. So pressure increases. So since the mouth now is high pressure, but the nostril already closed. So air obviously cannot come out, but it will be instead pushed into the lungs. So you say air flows into the lungs, and this process is known as what? So remember, what's the process of air flowing from buccal pharyngeal cavity into the lungs called? It is known as lung ventilation. Okay, yeah, so for the buccal pharyngeal cavity into lungs one, you have to mention the process lung ventilation. Okay, can any problem with this one? Anybody still don't understand? Should be okay, right? Very simple only. Okay, so next we look at E. Okay, the last one. One adaptation for both skin and lungs of the frog. Okay, lungs just now since you already explained it, the folded walls. Okay, let's just explain the skin will do. Okay, one adaptation. Okay, which is skin is the easiest one. So skin got what adaptation for gases exchange? So skin is what? How is skin adapted for gases exchange? Skin is what? Skin is, there's many things we can say about it. Moist, yes. So frogs, when their skin is always like wet. So moist, again, no, like we did just now, if there's water, gases, so you can say has moist surface, so that gases, keyword, remember got water means gases can dissolve before diffusion. Okay, so again, dissolve, keyword. Okay, cannot. So as you can see, that is your, what do you call that? Breathing mechanism of animal pulmonary respiration. Okay, so the rest, you actually can try yourself. Quite simple already, the rest. Okay, so answers, I will post it very soon. Don't worry. Okay, let's just do this one. Okay, this one actually quite interesting. I got mentioned this in the notes last week. But okay, so I'm going to look at A2. Okay, what's the difference between structure L and M? So by the way, you can see there's an insect and human pulmonary respiratory system. So L actually is here left out already. So L and M, these two actually has the same name one. Remember what is it called? So we just only mentioned just now the insect one, this part is called. So human punya throat here, insect punya one here is called the trachea, correct? So very often, question likes to ask the difference between the trachea in human and the trachea in insect. So they have the same name, but their structure are slightly different. So as I mentioned last week, both of the trachea in human and insects, right, have like rings surrounding them. Okay, so we mentioned just now that in insects, these are called rings of chitin. Human one is called rings of, do you remember what it's called? I mentioned this last week. It's called the rings of rings of what? Okay, yes, Aaron. It's rings of cartilage. But they have the same function, which is to support, strengthen the trachea so it doesn't collapse. So air can continuously pass through. Okay, right. So that's it for the questions part. That's it for the animal respiration. I presume all of you can, right? Okay, so let's go back to the notes. Okay, there's only one last thing to go through. One more page only. Okay, last page, page 10. Okay, so what you're going to learn here is the disease related to your respiratory system. Okay, health issues related to human respiratory system. So here they say, okay, the disease we're going to learn, right, a bit specific. This disease that occur in your lungs, right, are called chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So pulmonary means respiratory disease in your lungs that obstructs your breathing. Chronic obstructive means that very seriously obstructing your respiratory system punya disease. Okay, so means it will affect your breathing. All right, so there are three types here: asthma, chronic bronchitis, and emphysema. So asthma is probably most of you have heard before. Okay, so asthma people will have difficulty breathing. So in certain situations, you see them like gasping for air like that. Okay, 气喘病啊. Now, so asthma, why people have asthma, why they have difficulty breathing is because, right, their bronchiole, okay, or the bronchus sometimes becomes swollen and thickened. So as you can see, this is a normal bronchiole. Okay, on the left-hand side punya picture. Right-hand side one, you can see that is a bronchiole that already swollen, and the pathway you can see is small already. So therefore, air is very hard to be transported towards your alveolus. That's why these people, no matter how hard they breathe, air cannot go into alveolus, so they will like no oxygen like that, so they cannot breathe. Okay, so that's why you can see here, opening of bronchioles becomes smaller and air passage becomes narrower. That's why a very common symptom of asthma people, right, they have shortness of breath. So that's called shortness of breath. Okay, so here I didn't write the causes of asthma because we didn't really learn about it. Okay, but causes, okay, you actually can add here, is usually caused by allergy. So some people, their bronchiole are more sensitive to the surrounding air. Let's say if the air is dusty, or maybe there's a lot of, maybe they are, let's say in Western countries, let's say during like springtime, there's a lot of, we call it pollen in the air. So if you inhale the pollen, go into your bronchiole, this will cause allergic reaction and cause your bronchiole to swell up. Okay, so normally asthma is you're born really fun. Like your bronchiole is naturally more sensitive. So you have this kind of allergy. So therefore, it will trigger this reaction where your bronchiole will swell up and the hole become smaller. So that's why you can see asthma people, what is the common treatment? They will inhale a type of gas. Remember that thing that is called an inhaler? So here I will give you the treatment. So they always like pump the inhaler. So the gas that comes up from the inhaler, right? What does it do? You can see here, it relaxes the muscles, the bronchial muscles. So since the muscles are contracted, swell up, the gas will cause it to relax and open back up the bronchial. And that's why they can breathe back normally. So there's no permanent cure for this, right? So, but some people, they do recover from it after like inhaling the inhaler for many years. So this thing can just like suddenly go away. Yeah, it depends on your luck. But some might even last until old age. So yeah, it depends on luck. This thing. Okay, so that is asthma. Okay, so the next two, chronic bronchitis and emphysema. This two is more serious, and it usually occurs in smokers. So if you smoke a lot, okay, you'll most likely have these two diseases. Okay, so bronchitis is also your bronchial problem. So bronchitis is something like asthma, but it's actually caused by usually smoking. So your bronchioles also becomes inflamed and swollen. Inflammation means that got like swelling and so on. So that's called inflamed. And on top of that, chronic bronchitis punya bronchiole will have a lot of mucus forming inside it, as you can see here. A lot yellow, which punya mucus. Okay, so the reason behind that is because, right, now, actually throughout your respiratory system, inside your trachea, bronchus, bronchiole, the walls of the bronchus, bronchiole all right, actually have a lot of cilia, a lot of hair-like substance like that. So this cilia is responsible to help you sweep out dust particles out from your respiratory system. So that's why when it's dusty, you will sometimes sneeze, so your body trying to get rid of the dust and so on. Okay, so if you smoke a lot, right, the tar in a cigarette especially, not just tar, but you can also add here sulfur and all nitrogen dioxide. So these two gases are actually acidic. So they, along with tar, these two gases also might damage or corrode your bronchiole. So therefore, this hair or this cilia hair might be destroyed. So if there's too much dirt or dust inside your bronchiole and your body can't sweep it out, therefore, excess mucus will be secreted. So this mucus will try to get rid of the dust. That's why when you breathe in a lot of dust, you keep on sneezing because your body creates mucus to try to get rid of it. Okay, but this person obviously he won't sneeze. He'll keep on coughing. Okay, so symptoms of chronic bronchitis, right, is frequent coughing with a lot of phlegm like that because your bronchiole is already damaged. So there's a lot of inflammation and mucus inside it. Okay, other than that, you have wheezing. Wheezing is like you breathe like kind of 沙沙的声音 sound when you breathe like that. That means your lungs is like a lot of fluid like that. So you breathe like that. So it's called wheezing. Okay, you feel tightness in chest, shortness of breath also because there's a lot of mucus, so air cannot really pass through. So you feel your chest very pain and very hard to breathe. And if chronic bronchitis is too serious, it might lead to pneumonia. Pneumonia is a situation whereby your lungs is flooded with mucus. Because if there's too much mucus secreted, the mucus might end up inside your alveolus and then your alveolus might flood. So gases exchange cannot occur. So you will die eventually. So that's called pneumonia. Okay, in Chinese, it's called 飞痰. So pneumonia is also one of the symptoms caused by the coronavirus. Okay, because the coronavirus damaged your lungs as well. Okay, so next is emphysema. Emphysema is alveolus damage, as you can see here. Okay, so normal size become flattened like that. Okay, So same thing is also caused by tar in cigarette. So tar doesn't just damage the bronchial, it damages alveolus wall as well. So if the wall is damaged, this is the keyword here, midpoint. Alveolus loses elasticity and collapse. So the wall becomes less elastic and then you just like become flattened down like that. So if the alveolus like collapse like this, right, the main thing that will happen here is surface area of alveolus decreases. So obviously you can see the surface area now is smaller already. And therefore, exchange of gases become less efficient. Okay, so gases exchange cannot really occur. So emphysema also will cause shortness of breath because your body cannot get oxygen efficiently. Okay, same thing, you have cough, wheezing, and ongoing fatigue. Fatigue means tiredness. Why you have fatigue is because if you lack of oxygen, oxygen is used to make energy. So no oxygen means no energy. No energy, then you'll feel tired. Okay, can? Okay, now, so besides tar and sulfur nitrogen dioxide, right? Okay, so here, I add another thing inside your notes here. You have other harmful substances in cigarette. So besides the tar, which is the black thing in cigarette that cause your lungs to be black like this. So the first one is, still not, carbon monoxide. Okay. So carbon monoxide, as you know, is a very harmful gas towards the human body. Okay, so carbon monoxide, as you breathe in, just like oxygen, it can bind with hemoglobin. But when carbon monoxide binds with hemoglobin, it will form carboxyhemoglobin. So just like the oxyhemoglobin, you add the word carb in front. So it's carboxyhemoglobin. Okay, so carboxyhemoglobin, this thing is the one that will actually damage your respiratory system. Okay, so okay, move here. So carboxyhemoglobin, right? The problem with it is because it is more stable than oxyhemoglobin. So therefore, it is harder to be broken down, harder to be decomposed, which reduces oxygen in the body. Okay, what does that mean? So, okay, we have, okay, give an example here. So we have carbon monoxide and hemoglobin, okay, and oxygen plus hemoglobin. Okay, so when these two combine, as we mentioned, it forms carboxyhemoglobin. This one forms oxy. So as in the notes, they say that this compound is more stable. This is less stable. So more stable means, right, when they form together, it's like if a relationship between a boy and girl very stable, means they'll be very happily with each other, they will not break up, they love each other, so they just bind together like this. Okay, so imagine carboxyhemoglobin is like a very lovely couple, they no quarrel, always very sweet with each other. So they're very stable, they don't break up. Okay, so imagine if your body have a lot of carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide will couple with all the girls, all the hemoglobin in your body, and then since they are stable, they will not break apart, so your body will have lesser hemoglobin left for oxygen. Okay, because oxygen, when they bind with hemoglobin, right, they are not stable. So it's just like a couple that always like to quarrel with each other. So if you always quarrel, you are not stable. So if you're not stable, you will break up easily. So since hemoglobin and oxygen is not stable, hemoglobin will prefer to bind with carbon monoxide. Okay, so if a girl get to choose a boy that he always quarrel with and a boy that is a very sweet, obviously he will choose the sweet one, so that it can form a stable relationship. So as you breathe in carbon monoxide and oxygen together, hemoglobin will choose to bind with carbon monoxide to form carboxy because it's more stable. So therefore, in the long run, your hemoglobin in your body will decrease, and then you have lesser hemoglobin to bind with oxygen. That's why in the long run, it reduces the transport of oxygen in body. Is that clear? Anyone do understand this one? Okay, so just remember, it is more stable. Okay, hemoglobin will decrease. So it's like another guy come into your body and steal all the girls. So the usual guy, which is oxygen, now have no more girlfriend to be with. Okay, so this is why oxygen can bind with hemoglobin, and then once reach body cell, they can break apart easily, and then oxygen go into your body cell. It's because oxyhemoglobin is not stable. That's why they can form and break very easily. Okay, yeah, so that is carbon monoxide, one of the main component inside cigarette smoke. Okay, now next is nicotine, along with the two things I mentioned to you just now, the sulfur and nitrogen dioxide. So these three, besides the nitrogen and sulfur dioxide, besides corroding your lungs, along with nicotine, these three things are known as carcinogen compounds, which we did mention this in chapter 6. Carcinogen compounds are compounds that cause cancer. So if since these three things are in cigarette and goes into your lungs, it will most likely cause lung cancer. That's why smokers, one of the diseases they will get is also lung cancer, because these three things are cancer-causing compounds. Okay, so as you also know, nicotine is also one of the things that causes addiction, besides causing cancer. Okay, cannot. So with that, we are done with chapter 8. Okay, so we'll just go behind and do one or two simple questions. Okay, anything you don't understand? Okay, ma. Okay, right? Right, so quite simple today punya topic, and quite short also, since today is the last part of the chapter. We relax a bit, very easy, only one of the questions also. Okay, so 8, they say, a person is found dead by police officer in the garage. Investigation shows the death was caused by excessive inhalation of car exhaust fumes. So car exhaust fumes obviously is poisonous, you kill you. But the question here they ask, state the gas released by the car exhaust and explain the consequences on the transportation of oxygen by Q. Here is actually referring to hemoglobin. Okay, hemoglobin is the one that transports oxygen in your body. Okay, so as you all know, inside car exhaust got what type of gas? Car exhaust ada apa gas? Okay, yes. As you know, number one, you can say gas in car exhaust fume is carbon monoxide. Okay, so now we're not talking about smoking. Okay, but we are talking about the gas that we learned just now, carbon monoxide. So sometimes you can see question asking, right? Not necessarily carbon monoxide comes from the cigarette smoke. So you can see question like this. Okay, they are trying to test you on your knowledge of carbon monoxide. So whether it's a cigarette or from car exhaust, it has the same effect, which means whereby as you inhale into your body, okay, carbon monoxide will combine with who? Carbon monoxide combines, okay, with your hemoglobin. And what does it form? So the compound that it forms is the one that harms your body. So which is called, so just remember, oxygen is oxyhemoglobin. Carbon monoxide, you just add the CARB in front. So carbo. hemoglobin. Okay, so next you got to describe how does hemoglobin affects transport of oxygen. So what's the characteristics of carboxyhemoglobin? What have to mention about it? What do I have to mention about? Yes, I will say that it is more stable compared to who? It is more stable than, remember, oxyhemoglobin. Okay, so since it's more stable, so therefore carboxyhemoglobin will be harder to be decomposed. So remember, just like couple like that, if their relationship is more stable, it's very hard to separate them. So if carboxy stable, it's very hard to decompose, means very hard to break down. So therefore, carboxyhemoglobin is harder to decompose. Okay, so last point. Okay, I give you more points here. So therefore, it reduces transport of oxygen in body. Because I used up all the hemoglobin already. Okay, it's like the guys did all the girls already. There's no more girls left for oxygen. Okay? Cannot? Okay, this one you try yourself. Okay, because we'll focus on the next one. More, better. Okay, this one. Cannot? Okay. This one is the OCPD one, the two disease, COPD, sorry, OCPD, obstructive, chronic COPD, sorry. Okay, so question 12, okay, the two diseases that we learned in front. Okay, A1. So they say that this person has chronic bronchitis, they tell you the disease already. What happens to the bronchus? Actually supposed to be bronchial, not bronchus, there's a mistake here. Okay, of a chronic bronchitis patient. So it's actually their bronchial. Okay, what happened to their bronchial? So there are two things you can say. I know here's only one mark. Number one, their bronchial, yes. You can say bronchial becomes swollen, inflamed and swollen. And number two, what else can you see in the diagram? There's a lot of okay, right, you also can say excessive mucus is secreted in bronchial. Okay. One symptom of this patient. So what will this person feel? So if there's too much, so if your air passage bengkak, swollen, a lot of mucus, most common thing this person will experience is he like lack of oxygen like that, like gasping for air like that. So the most common thing we will say it is difficulties in breathing. Okay, yes, we have difficulties in breathing. Okay. Or you also can say shortness of breath. Okay, actually, either one of you also can. They mean the same thing. Okay, but try to go for shortness of breath. Okay, so that that's called shortness of breath. Right? Now, last disease here. So there's another disease here which is regarding your alveolus one. So now the first thing here, they ask you to name the disease. So alveolus broken already. This disease is called, what is it called? Start with letter E. It is called M. Emphysema. Okay. Yep. How this disease affects the exchange of gases. So you will describe what happens to the alveolus that affects gases exchange. So why will the alveolus become like this from this? So what must we say? What happened to the alveolus? So because of the secret smoke when it contains like the tar or the sulfur nitrogen dioxide, okay, yes, as we've already, you must say that alveolus wall, okay, is damaged. The wall, like the cells, the tissues break down because of the tar, nitrogen dioxide, and all. Okay, so before we say surface area decrease, you must mention that the wall loses elasticity. So it 没有弹性, loses elasticity and then breaks down. Okay, so we may say, therefore, alveolus loses elasticity and collapses. Okay. Then only we say surface area, okay, of alveolus decreases. Okay, and then how does it affect gases exchange? So you can see there's more than 3 marks here. You can see that. So lastly, gases exchange becomes less efficient. Okay. So last one component in cigarette smoke that causes disease X. So components I already mentioned to you. You can see tar, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, also can. Okay. All right. So since today we actually finished it because today lesson quite short one. Okay, quite chill today. Okay, we just do a few objective questions, 2 or 3 objective questions. Then that's it. Okay, because I find it actually quite interesting when these two. Okay, let's do these 2 first. Okay, if you have the notes with you, we do page 15, question 11 and 12. Okay, how does fish maximize the efficiency of gases exchange? Okay, this one I didn't mention in notes one. Okay, but try to go through yourself and try to figure out by yourself which of the following maximize efficiency for gases exchange in fish. Okay, so the first one you have, okay, I read for you the answers. Opening of mouth and operculum. Second, closing of mouth and operculum. C, direction and water and blood flow through the gills is the same. So they say that blood flow, water, same direction. D, direction of water and blood flow flows in the opposite direction. Okay, so A and B obviously is nothing to do with gases exchange. I mean, it doesn't really affect the gases exchange. Mouth memang have to open and close. Operculum also may have to open and close. Water only can go in and out of body. So that's not gases exchange. That is actually the breathing mechanism part. So the obvious answer lies between C and D. So which one will be better? So this one just now I got mentioned in the notes one, whereby if you look here, okay, you can see that the blood in the blood capillaries actually flows in the opposite direction of the water. So the green color one here represents the blood in the blood capillaries. Water is this blue color one here they draw for you already. It flows in this direction. Okay, because you can see the blood vessels come, that is, you see the blood oxygen poor blood flow like this, and like this, and like this. So water comes in the opposite direction. So if water and blood flows in opposite direction, right, you can exchange gases easily. Okay, so imagine if like two person run in opposite direction, right? They actually can exchange things faster, rather when two person run in the same direction. Okay, so 12. Okay, this one you think yourself. Tell me the answer. Like, come fast. Which characteristic X ensures efficiency of gases exchange? So X, what is X pointing at? So gases exchange in insect occurs at X. Already mentioned, which is their tracheal. So which is the characteristics of tracheal over here? Got chitin, fluid, lots of spiracles, or network of blood capillaries. Okay, so this one answer actually is B. Okay, so C cannot, because now they're only talking about tracheal. If you read A and C, sounds correct. Okay, but chitin is only found at trachea. Spiracle is here, nothing to do with tracheal. Okay, so answer is actually B. Okay, can okay. So we do one more. Okay, look at last question 20 over here. So which of the following substance in cigarette smoke can corrode the wall of alveolus? So corrode means like melt. Okay, like acid, like that. Okay, so I know just now I mentioned a lot of tar causing like lung disease. Okay, but when you say the word corrode, the answer actually is C, nitrogen dioxide, because nitrogen dioxide is acidic, just like sulfur dioxide. So acid is the one that corrodes your alveolus. Tar will just damage the cells and tissues. So when you say corrode, you have to use the thing nitrogen dioxide. Okay. So today we will stop here. Answers I will post along when I upload the recorded video, maybe tomorrow, okay, or the day after. So is there anything to ask before we end this? All okay, questions are? So we will see again next week, same time. Okay. So the notes, yes, will be delivered to you next week. Okay, bye-bye.